Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome for an agendaless gathering. If you don't know what's going to happen, but something good will happen. Let's see the nice comments from everybody. Blessings to everybody. Good evening. Yeah, some of you, before you joined, I played a story called The Lindworm by Martin Shaw. So if you saw part of that, you can always go to YouTube and watch the rest of it. Beautiful story called The Lindworm, Lindworm. Great. And let's start with a nice sound of my board. So it's an agendaless gathering. So we'll just see how it goes, what shape it takes. Since this is a webinar, I can't see any of you. The way to communicate with me will be either through the chat or through the questions. I've got them both open so I can see what you're writing. I may not keep track of everything, but I am doing my best to see what you are writing. And once in a while, I will take time to respond to any questions. Right, great. Can you just take a minute with open eyes? Just take in this moment. It's nice to learn to be meditative without closing your eyes and getting into a special position. Eyes can be open and you can enter a more meditative state. Meditative state is one where you're not trying to pull and push your experience. You're letting your experience be. And you're shifting from being the doer to being the witness. Years back, I had seen a magazine in which there was a feature on Zen in photography. And what the photographer had done was take the most ordinary things, like a crack in the pavement and a little weed growing out of it, a broken window, just something really ordinary, like a chair in a restaurant, sunlight coming through the windows. And there was such tremendous beauty in it. And I was like, wow, these are things we kind of see all the time. But the way he'd captured it, or she, I forget who it was so stunningly beautiful. So I said, oh, the Zen of photography is seeing the beauty in what the rest of us take for granted. And seeing the divinity hidden in that, the beauty, the wholeness hidden in that. And years later, when I was a monk, I was doing walking meditation in our monastery. And that particular monastery, the floor was just cement. And over the years, the cement had taken on a kind of a patchy, blotchy kind of pattern. So walking meditation there for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, early morning, quite dim light. And at some point, my vision cleared up so much and I got totally captivated by the patterns on the concrete. I'm like, wow. And I couldn't get the thought out of my mind, this needs to be in a museum. This is so beautiful. This needs to be in a museum. This is so beautiful. And of course, I realized, the floor was just a floor, but my vision had become clear. in that moment, my way of looking at it, I was not judging it, I was not preoccupied. I was looking at it with my full attention. And that simple, blotchy piece of concrete with patches on it, to me seemed like it belonged in the best modern art museum of the world. So walking meditation, what's walking meditation? Walking meditation is where you take up, the usual path, the way you do it is you have a path of about maybe between 10 to 20 steps. You keep your hands in front or the back, and you just calmly walk up and down, again and again. You walk usually a little bit slower than usual, but if you're sleepy, you can even walk faster than usual. And the idea is to be aware and attentive. Keep your attention on the present. The most basic thing to do is to be aware of your legs moving, lifting, dropping. You normally walk bare feet. You feel the foot touching the ground. And I had never really done walking meditation until I became a monk. And I was amazed how much emphasis they gave to walking meditation. Hours a day was spent in walking meditation. In fact, teachers would judge the monastery based on three things. They would judge the practice in a monastery based on three things. What are the three things? They would suddenly go and look behind the Buddha statue. Because behind the Buddha statue were often, it was untidy. In many monasteries, you keep cleaning implements, you keep, cloth, you keep, whoever goes behind the Buddha statue, right? So they go and check behind the Buddha statue. Is it clean behind the Buddha statue? Or are we just keeping the rest of the house, rest of the monastery clean? That was one thing they'd check. They'd check how clean the toilets were. And they check how well used were the walking meditation paths. So based on this, they determine, is the practice in this monastery is good or not? Fascinating, isn't it? Look, because otherwise, when a senior monk would visit, of course, we keep our monastery very clean. But often these things were missed, and they would check based on that. What if you listen to any chants while walking? Is that meditation too? It's more like when you're listening to a chant, it's you're more involved in the emotion of that chant, isn't it? So I wouldn't exactly call that a meditation. In a very broad sense, I guess you could call it a meditation. One way of looking at it is, of course, many people use the word interchangeably, but concentration is different from meditation. Concentration is exclusive attention. So if I say focus on the yellow of this symbol, then that would be exclusive attention. But when I say take in everything on the screen, and not only on the screen, take in everything that you're seeing beyond the screen. So that's inclusive. So exclusive is concentration, inclusive is meditation. And of course, they're interconnected, but that's broadly what it is. So when you're listening to chants, when you're doing walking meditation, I'm not sure you could really technically call that meditation, although it could be meditative, perhaps. Why not? One thing I was noticing earlier today is that there were times in my life where I judged myself pretty strongly for certain things. For example, I judged myself for being too much of a reader. I said, I read so much, but then I don't fully apply what I read. I need to apply more, read less, apply more, kind of thing. So I would judge myself for reading too much, reading too many diverse things. And yet, in a way, that's given me the ability today to talk to a wide variety of people from a wide variety of countries, wide variety of cultures, even wide variety of backgrounds, religious backgrounds or other backgrounds. So in a way, what I was judging was, in a sense, required for who I am and what I do today. And so as I'm speaking, I want you to check, is there anything in your life that you judged very strongly about yourself? Which today you find that actually there's a nice way of saying this, that every real estate agent knows every single house has got no house is perfect, right? It's got some problem, got some challenge, some difficulty, some problem. Could be noise, could be how it was built, there was a problem. The art of the real estate agent is, instead of selling it and mentioning the problem, you sell it as a feature. So instead of thinking of it as a problem, you think of it as a feature. And then you can actually charge more for it. So in other words, looking at yourself, are you going to see these things as problems or as a feature? Right. The fact that I draw from many different teachers, many different traditions, many different sources when I share, this could be seen as a problem. I don't seem to have a very clear, sharp, focused message, in a sense. That can be a problem, or that can be a feature. It's like, wow, this is so all-inclusive. This is so broad, and this is so welcoming of different approaches to truth and wisdom. Right? So are you looking at these parts of yourself as problems and as bugs, or are you seeing them as features? Like, for example, I've always talked quite fast. People tell me when I teach, I talk a little bit slower, but generally I talk pretty fast. I'm a fast talker. So for a long time, people would criticize me for talking too fast, and even I would criticize myself. I couldn't help it. But then I realized actually a feature. Because I talk fast, people have no choice but to pay attention. Someone who talks slowly, like Eckhart Tolle, wonderful teacher, he speaks really slowly. If you ever heard his talks, he speaks very calmly, very slowly. And people have a hard time sometimes being awake. So what I would say in a minute, Eckhart Tolle might say in 10 minutes. No criticism, of course. He's wonderful. And that's great, and he's a wonderful teacher. Learned so much from him. But understand that, so I began to see this speaking fast as a feature. This is actually a feature of my teaching. You have to pay attention. You have to be fully there. And I'm, we think so many times faster than we speak. So if one is speaking too slowly, then the mind can deviate and go here and left and right and all over the place and come back. But when someone's speaking fast, you have to be there. You have to be fully present. And the other story I made for myself is I've come from a different dimension where things happen exponentially faster. So what you're calling fast speaking is actually very slow speaking. It's a story, but why not? It's a nice story, right? You could call it rationalizing or you could call it whatever. But the point is, I don't see it as a bug anymore. I see it as a feature. And so it may bug other people. It doesn't bug me anymore. And there's a nice quote one of my teachers says that, do we ever really change? Or do we just learn to love and accept ourselves the way we are? And the fascinating thing is when you love and accept yourself the way you are, maybe that's the moment change actually happens. It's a change of the heart, right? That's a transformation. So there's a question, does judging oneself help improve sort of an introspection? So you have to ask yourself. I don't think there are any final answers to these things. Like there is a concept in the Buddha's teaching, and I'm sure it's there in other religions as well. It's what they call, it's like a wholesome kind of shame of doing something that you would not be able to live with yourself with for having said that or done that. And that was very fascinating for me, that normally shame is considered to not be a good thing, but this is like a wholesome shame that I couldn't live with myself if I did that. Like, for example, a shopkeeper hands you extra change, extra money, returning change, he accidentally gives you more money. You could very easily walk away. He's not even going to notice. But something in you says, no way, I can't do that. Nobody will know, but I would know. And I couldn't live with myself for that, right? So that's kind of a wholesome shame, a wholesome dread of doing something unwholesome. So I guess in that sense it does. But one has to be careful, because this judging can become a real habit. And then nothing, it's never good enough. No matter how much you do, it's never good enough. There's a nice quote I came across, one of the documentaries I was watching. And this lady said, people keep saying, I'm cleaning up. And by cleaning up is like, I'm doing this healing work. I'm doing the spiritual work. I'm doing meditation, healing. I'm cleaning up, letting go. I'm cleaning up. And she's like, all right, you're cleaning up, but when will you start decorating? I mean, enough of cleaning. Are you going to spend your whole life cleaning? I mean, yes, it's good to clean the house, but also decorate the house. Put the kind of, put on some nice music, put on some nice incense, Get the nice china out. Don't just keep all your good dishes inside for special occasions. So how much of cleaning? At what point will you start decorating? Someone is saying your fast talking has helped me improve my English comprehension. Great. Yeah. Take a minute of silence. One of my favorite images is of um, a cat chasing a ball of wool. A cat chasing a ball of wool. And the cat is chasing and chasing and she's very mesmerized by this ball of wool. The more she chases, the more she pushes it, the more it keeps rolling, rolling, rolling. And the cat is playing with this ball of wool, it's chasing it. And of course, the more it rolls, the smaller it gets. And at a certain point, the cat jumps back in astonishment. The ball disappeared. The ball disappeared. There's no ball. And now it's just a string. Where did the ball go? So I love this analogy because there was actually never a ball. There was just string. And it appeared to take the shape of a ball. But as the cat kept chasing it and chasing it and chasing it, at one point, poof, there's no ball. There's only wool. And I like this because to me, this is a good analogy for spirituality. Ramana Maharshi called this hunting the eye. We spend this whole life in one way or the other embellishing this eye. And of course, nowadays in very obvious ways, our Instagram account and how many followers I have and Facebook and YouTube and this and that. And embellishing the eye, even spirituality becomes the way of embellishing the eye. It's called the spiritual ego. It's the most sticky one. Spiritual experiences. Some years back, I met a lady who used to have vivid meetings, recognitions, visions of Krishna. Krishna would appear to her. Lord Krishna would appear. And he'd just come like a child. He'd play with her. He'd talk to her. And just like, you would talk to a real person, she would talk to Krishna. That was her experience. And at some point, he stopped coming. And she was in a mess. She just couldn't get it. Why has he stopped coming? He doesn't love me anymore. What happened? What did I do wrong? He just stopped appearing. And I tried to talk to her and I realized there's no talking to her because she looked at me and said, has Krishna come to you? I said, no, he hasn't. She said, you don't understand. And it's true, I don't understand. But it's also true that she's living in the past. And she's so caught up in that particular version of Krishna that she would see and play with that now she can't, she's suffering. You see? So this becomes a spiritual ego. You don't understand. I've had these experiences. So the whole point is not to get stuck to this or that experience. Because experience by its very nature is constantly changing. Any experience. Sights are constantly changing. Sounds are constantly changing. Smell, taste, touch. inner thoughts, the inner landscape of your thoughts and emotions constantly changing. So like you heard this, isn't it? The only constant is change. So if you make change your foundation, then you have found a way, like the cat has found a way of chasing that ball. And little by little, an untangling and unraveling and unburdening is going to happen. And you may not notice it on a day-to-day level, but definitely as you look back 6 months back, a year back, 3 years back, 10 years back, what was I like? Was I as fluid? Was I as light? Was I as clear? You will notice there's been a change. You are definitely more fluid. You're definitely less hooked by those old patterns. You may still have the some remnants of those patterns, but they don't grip you. They don't bind you. They don't trap you the way they used to. There's more freedom there. And then you know you're on the right track. So I like to say, enjoy the illusion while it lasts. No mistakes, right? Enjoy the illusion while it lasts. So the cat is enjoying playing with that ball. So enjoy playing with the ball until poof, you realize there is no ball, there's only ball. So there is no Nithya having Nithya experiencing life. There's just life. Replace my name with yours, right? There is no dash experiencing life. There is just life experiencing life. And what a mystery it is. I mean, I really recommend this documentary, My Octopus Teacher. I just saw it a couple of days back on Netflix. It's so powerful. And I've done scuba diving, so I could relate to it even more because I spent a lot of time underwater. And he was actually not even scuba diving, he was free diving. And he goes underwater and he makes friends with an octopus. Not immediately, it takes him a full many months, and eventually it becomes like a full year. He spends every day he goes free diving. Free diving is you don't take any outside oxygen. And he free dives and he goes and befriends this octopus. It's fascinating. The octopus is so intelligent. And it made me think that, life has such a tremendous intelligence. This octopus had no formal education. These octopuses, their parents, the parent, in the process of giving out the eggs, the parent dies. This octopus had to learn everything by itself. And yet it knew how to camouflage itself, how to beat its predators. There's a certain intuitive intelligence there. Documentary name is My Octopus Teacher. Yeah. So what is it like for each one of us, no matter how old we are or we think we are, to get in touch with this intuitive intelligence? It's fine to read a few books and this and that, but eventually we have to come back and trust this intuitive intelligence. I read a nice article the other day. It talked about reading less, the importance of reading less. Maybe I should find that article. Maybe we should also read that article. The importance of reading less. We read too much and we don't contemplate, we don't absorb what we do read. There's like an information overload, inspiration overload as well. Isn't it? So that article was recommending that we actually reread some of the most inspiring things that we've come across. We revisit them, we reread them. We really check if we're applying those insights in our life. I recently, something fun I did recently this month, I went back and I downloaded my entire Facebook. Facebook gives you a chance you have to go into settings. You can download your entire Facebook. So I downloaded my entire Facebook and I found a way to convert it into a PDF. And I had it printed. So it came out to about 12 volumes like this, like 12 volumes. And this is actually one of the thinnest ones. Most of them are like almost twice the size. So I thought it'd be nice to just Let's open up some random and read some random things. Yeah. And some people ask me what it looks like. So it looks something like this right now. It's just pure, like it's like raw Facebook that has been just literally printed out. All right. So I'm just going to open some random things. Let's see what comes up. Some random readings from this. Okay, this is something that happened on 6th of June, 2018. It's an anecdote. I travel a lot and I often like to connect with the cab drivers who take me all around and support my work. This morning, I got talking to my Uber driver, and he shared with me a recent incident with a Korean tourist that he had been driving around Delhi. At a certain point, the tourist requested the driver to stop because he wanted to buy a bottle of Coke. The tourist bought one bottle of Coke for himself and one for the driver as well. Our man was grateful, began driving, and once he had finished drinking the Coke, lowered his car window and threw the bottle out on the street. The customer didn't react or say anything. When they stopped a while later to get fuel, he stepped out of the car, found a trash can to drop off his own bottle. My driver confessed that at that moment he felt embarrassed. He realized that a tourist had shown more respect for his country than he himself had. He said he learned a lesson that day and is now more mindful about how he disposes things. This little anecdote revealed to me yet again how our quiet example can speak louder than words. The tourist did not correct the driver. The tourist did not judge the driver. He simply did the right thing himself. This reminds me of a time when we were at a traffic light in New Delhi, and I saw a lady in a luxury car adjacent to mine roll down her window and throw a large plastic bag on the street. I got out of my car, picked up the bag, and put it in my car. And I could see her going all red in the face. No need to argue, no need to criticize, no need to fight. Our actions speak louder than our words. Isn't that great? This is a reading from 2018. Lovely, right? Here's another one from the same page. It's a quote by Nithya Shanti. Nithya Shanti is a wonderful teacher from California. And he says, real freedom is the freedom from the demand to feel good all the time. Real freedom is the freedom from the demand to feel good all the time. What's the name of the book? I'm just reading from my Facebook printouts. There's no name of the book here. It says Nithya Shanti. I must have picked it up from somewhere. I'm not sure which book it's from. Let's open up another random page. So this is I think it's about a Japanese Zen master called Sokei-an Sasaki. Sokei-an Sasaki. And so it's a little writing about that. People sometimes ask, Sokai-an, you have experienced the transcendental world and you are still here. How do you feel? I say, I feel just like this. I got into it in my 20s and I have been there ever since. So I haven't much experience of the other world. How did I get into it? Well, I should tell you the truth. One day, I wiped out all notions from my mind. I gave up all desire. I discarded all the words with which I thought, and I stayed in the quietude. I felt a little queer, as if I was being carried into something, or as if I were touched by some power unknown to me. I had been near it before. I'd experienced it several times, but each time I had shaken my head and run away from it. This time I decided not to run away, and zip, I entered. I lost the boundary of my physical body. I had my skin, of course, but my physical body extended to the corners of the world. I walked 2 or 3 yards, but I felt I was standing in the center of the cosmos. I spoke, but my words had lost all meaning. I saw people coming towards me, but all were the same person. All were myself. Queer. I had never known this world. I had believed that I was created, but now I must change my opinion. I was never created. I was the cosmos. I was never an individual. Mr. Sasaki, there was never an individual who called Mr. Sasaki who existed. I came to my teacher. He looked at me and said, "Tell me about your new experience. You're entering into the transcendental world." Did I answer him? If I spoke, I would come back to the old world. If I said one word, I would step out of the new world that I had entered. I looked at his face. He smiled at me. He also did not say a word. And what I like about this is that he says, just to go back to it, he says, "One day I wiped out all notions from the mind. I gave up all desire." Even to temporarily give up all desire is a great thing. It's amazing. Even temporarily. No one's saying give up all desire. Give up all desire temporarily. The purpose of desire is the ending of desire, isn't it? You desire something so you can stop desiring that thing. So ultimately, we do want the ending of desire. And so I discarded all the words with which I thought. I stayed in quietude. I felt a little queer, as if I was being carried into something, as if I was touching some power unknown to me. I had been near it before. I had experienced it several times, but each time I had shaken my head and run away from it. This time I decided not to run away. And zip. Beautiful. So the reason I'm repeating this is I sense many of you have felt the stream. There's like a stream of intelligence. There's a stream of life. There's a stream of consciousness. And I mean, you would not be on this call if you had not at least dipped your toes in it. You experience these flow states. Now, whether it's in sports, or whether it's in art, or whether it's with music, or whether it's with meditation, or whether it's when cleaning the dishes, you experience these flow states. But then we pull back, like, oh, I can't trust that. I can't go all the way into that. But Mr. Sasaki decided to go all the way into that. Like, again, watching this documentary, My Octopus Teacher, you realize how this entire ecosystem, everything is in balance. The fish, the corals, the waves, the tides, the sharks, they're all, it's like, and he talks about this himself, that when I would dive into the ocean, he was diving every single day for a year. And he said, I'm entering into a mind. This entire ocean is like a super mind, like a supercomputer. Not just going to observe one creature called an octopus. This entire ocean is like a gigantic mind. And he was entering into the supercomputer of this mind. How beautiful is that? So if that can take care of all the details of the universe, why can't it take care of the details of your life? In this documentary, the octopus gives, toward the end of its life, gives out millions of eggs. One of those millions, a very small handful will actually grow to become octopus, because they're eaten up by everything else. The fish eat it up, everything eats it up. It's a small handful. And if you think about us as human beings, I don't know how many, 30 to 50 to 60 million sperm go racing toward that egg. And then one, or maybe if you're a twin, then two, go ahead and fertilize that egg. How fascinating. So you are already a winner, actually. You run a marathon with 60 million others, and you won that marathon. So this is the after after award party. Your life is the after award party for winning the marathon, for being the winning sperm that went ahead and impregnated that egg. Think about it, how, that's fascinating. From the sperm that hits the egg and that fertilizes, and then next thing you know, you're born and you're in this strange world. If you think about it, it's an absolute mystery. And to think that, no, I want to control things. I want things to go my way. If I don't do things, nothing will work out. What a terrible, what a terrible hypnotic trance to be in, psychotic trance to be in. Nithya's voice is a bit low. Can it be loud? I'll try to speak a little louder. I'll get my computer closer to me. Hands-free helps. Yeah, let's see. I'll just speak a little louder. Normally it should be fine. How do you overcome the resistance to be in flow? I would say don't even be in a rush to overcome it, because that's like, you're 2 levels deep. You're resisting the resistance. Take out the word resistance. You just have an experience. Just have an experience. The process of giving birth, there will be physical pain involved. But if you can just surrender to that and not fight it, it becomes so much easier. You just breathe into it. You breathe into it. You breathe into it. You relax into it. Let's have a little quietude again. Very nice. There's a concept in physics called a wormhole. A wormhole is, and I'm not a physicist, but I'm just going to do my understanding of it is, it's it's a way to travel from one part of the universe to another, or one dimension to another rather quickly. It's like a shortcut. It's like space-time bending over, and instead of taking the long route, you take the short route, like a wormhole. So I had this thought this evening that there is a wormhole that connects your present experience to your most enlivened and well articulated and aligned experience. There's a wormhole. And what's that wormhole? That connects you as you are now to your superpowers. And what came to me, it's similar to what we were talking about earlier, is you really, in a radical way, accepting yourself the way you are. In a really radical way. You really, in a radical way, realizing that nothing's out of place. And in a very deep and radical way, realizing that there's nothing wrong with you. Even though there's a million pieces of evidence that say there's something wrong with you, but you're deciding no, disregarding all that evidence. And so, and nothing wrong with the evidence as well, right? So nothing's out of place. So in a really radical way, accepting yourself, rejoicing yourself, finding yourself cute, finding your experience, no matter how difficult it is, that this is exactly the way it's meant to be. Nothing's out of place. And the insight I had is that is the wormhole, that is the shortcut, that is the way to leap across. That's the non-linear way to your superpowers. And what are the two superpowers? For me, there are two main superpowers. The first superpower is the ability to be radically present. The ability to be radically present. In any situation, you show up. The second superpower is the ability to tell a high quality story. Be a master storyteller. So for example, if I'm driving on the road, I could just be driving on the road, but I could tell a very interesting story. I could say, you know what? Wherever I drive, I'm always surrounded by the best drivers in the city. Wherever I drive, I'm always surrounded by the best drivers in the city. And if someone seems to be driving rash or being careless, yeah, they have a reason. They have to catch a flight. They have to go to the hospital. Something's happening. But normally they're a very, very good driver. That's an example of a really powerful story. Right. And we tell stories all the time anyway. We say, oh, traffic is really bad in the city. Yeah, compared to some cities, it's bad. Compared to some cities, it's amazing. Like Indians complain about how bad the roads are. But many of these Indians live in big cities. If they go to the villages, they'll see how bad really the roads can be. And even those villages have it really good compared to some other neighboring countries. So it's all a matter, it's all relative. Nothing is good or bad by itself. I remember being in the US, someone was driving me and they were complaining about how much traffic there is. And I was noticing they were going at 60 miles an hour. And that was slow. It's so slow. It's so much traffic. 60 miles an hour is like some of the top highest speeds you can reach on average Indian roads. What you're calling slow is like really fast by Indian standard. So it's all comparative, isn't it? So in other words, to be a master storyteller. So for example, one story that I tell is that it takes endless preparation to be who I'm not. And it takes no preparation to be who I am. And all I have to do is show up. It takes endless preparation to be who I'm not. It takes no preparation to be who I am. So I can have a 2-hour agendaless session and I can actually be agendaless. I can come here sitting with zero idea what I'm going to do. There may be some possibilities, but no real clear idea, and it's fine. And it'll probably be better than if I ever plan. No matter how long I spent planning this, it could not be as amazing as if I don't plan this. And I'm saying this from the experience of teaching for a long time, where when I don't plan and it goes in all kinds of unexpected directions, then people come up to me and say, wow, that's exactly what I needed to hear. That's exactly what I needed to hear. What are the chances that that was exactly what they needed to hear? It's because there's a larger mind that's operating. Right? We talked about the ocean being a supercomputer. This life is like a supercomputer. And you can trust that nothing's out of place. Which also means that if I am feeling sometimes motivated to plan, it's not even that becomes a new pattern. If I am feeling motivated to prepare, then plan. Wonderful. Plan, prepare, be ready, make some notes, or don't, and it's fine either way. And so what I'm trying to say is that trust that if you're in that particular family, if you're in that particular neighborhood, if you're in that particular organization, if you're in that particular setup with those particular challenges, there's no mistake. You're meant to be there. And if you can just show up and stop resisting and fighting and even embrace and recognize, acknowledge your resistance and fighting, all of that, and take it all in and be in a state of radical acceptance, a wormhole gets created into your superpowers. Some superpower starts awakening. It could be the two that I talked about. It could be anything else. Superpowers start awakening. I was just reading yesterday. There's a book called A Course in Miracles Made Easy by Alan Cohen. Course in Miracles is a very fantastic, is a very powerful book. And he's writing his own kind of commentary, making it easier for people to understand. So he gives an example of his friend who is a student of the course. And his friend is sitting in his apartment in New York and he hears a sound. And he gets up and goes to the other room and he sees there's a burglar. The burglar has gotten in from the window. And the burglar is startled and he starts to run for it. And this man says, hey, stop. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. Can I help you? He tells the burglar, stop. It's okay. Maybe I can help you. And the burglar is amazed. And he relaxes. And he calls the burglar in, has him sit down, and they have a profound conversation. Turns out this man has recently lost his job. And he's feeling so helpless. His girlfriend has dumped him. He's recently lost his job. And he just sees no other way. They have a profound conversation. And he actually gives him some money. Take this and come back, meet me anytime you like. So in other words, there could have been 1,000 things that he did in that moment. If you were to go to a room and see a burglar, there are 1,000 responses. You can shriek, you can scream, you can faint, you can throw things at the person, you can get into a fight. But one of those 1,000 things is you can say, hey, stop. It's okay. Maybe I can help you. So the ability to choose love over fear in that situation, it is not an accident that person chose love over fear. It's because they have been practicing their whole life. They've been practicing choosing love over fear again and again and again and again. How to get that acceptance? I accept my present level of acceptance. That's exactly the way to do it. I accept my present level of acceptance and non-acceptance. Instantly, you have the acceptance. Some questions are coming up. Enough cleansing, but how do you decorate? Cleansing बहुत हो गया. Decorate कैसे करें life को? So you start. See, how do you decorate a home? You decorate by bringing in your favorite things, right? So your favorite books, your favorite paintings, the kinds of things you like, the kind of furniture you like. That's how you decorate a home, isn't it? So decorate your life also that way. Instead of spending your time on what you don't like, don't want, giving all your attention to that, how about you focus on what you do like and do want to create instead of what you don't want to create? So yeah, what kind of music do you like? What kind of people do you like? What kind of activities do you like? What kind of reading? What kind of activities? What kind of practices do you like? And that's how you decorate your life. That's how you decorate your heart, isn't it? Can I ask a question, Nithya? Why did you leave Facebook? It felt complete. Yeah? I'd been, in any case, I was taking, if you were following me on Facebook, I would take regular breaks from Facebook. Every few months, I think I've been taking a few days off or a week off or even sometimes a few months off. So I could feel that it's not, while in one way, it's a very good way of reaching out to people, it didn't feel like an optimal way to share the kind of thing that I'm sharing. Like right now, we have this meeting, it's a 2-hour meeting. And you have a chance to discuss and contemplate and go deeper. So you read something like, for example, what I just read, some of the things you read that on Facebook. Wow, you feel so good. But then right after that, you have another post, you have another video, you have another thing. So, but where are the chances of that to get absorbed? You see? So it's not, these are beautiful teachings and the environment, the whole context of Facebook, and also over time, what Facebook has become. I think you should all watch the documentary, Social Dilemma, that how they have literally hacked our attention, right? And it's not about willpower anymore. They've literally understood the deep evolutionary ways in which we relate to each other. For example, the like button, for example, tagging each other. It's a very, very deep desire to be acknowledged, to be accepted, to be validated. They've hacked that and they've made this the attention economy. They've grabbed our attention. So I realized that it was not the best place for me to share. And actually, more than any other platform, more than Instagram, more than YouTube, most of the people, I think 300, I'm forgetting what it is now, maybe close to 300,000, if you add up all my different Facebook pages and groups. But it just felt that that's not the most conducive place. So I left Facebook and I started my own cute little platform called belucid.in. So went from about 300,000 people, supposedly, who knows how many actually get the posts, went from that to maybe close to 2,000 people. But it feels much more wholesome. These 2,000 people are far more engaged. And it just feels like a much better place. And it's like so much more happening. There's much more sense of community, right? So I think this is a documentary all of us should watch with our family and friends. Social Dilemma, I think called The Social Dilemma on Netflix. And then ask yourself, am I really going to be, if there's a nice saying they have in that documentary that if you're not paying for it, then you are the product. And they're trying to understand you and your preferences, and you don't even realize how you're getting manipulated so easily. So like that. There's again a nice, I don't have it here with me. There's a great book. It's called Stand Out of Our Light. Stand Out of Our Light. It's a free book. It's a very fantastically written book. It's all about this, the attention economy, and how to reclaim our freedom. So it's really important. And my quality of life is better, much better. Since I've left Instagram and Facebook, I've got much higher quality of life. I haven't fully gotten all, like still I am on WhatsApp and I am on Telegram. I'm trying to find a way to balance that as well. But it's definitely taking out the two big ones. And I was never too much on Instagram anyway, but getting out of Facebook has been huge. Yeah. So कुछ पाने के लिए कुछ खोना भी पड़ता है. So if you want to gain something worthwhile, you also got to let go of something. What is the end goal of meditation? Do you just flow with the flow, or then set goals and flow? So the goal of meditation is to lose the meditator. So it's life, living life. So you could say the 3 stages. Stage 1 is I'm the experiencer. Stage 2 is I'm the witness of the experience. And stage 3 is that there is no witness. There is this life. There is just life. It just is. Even life is a concept. It just is. What is. I am that I am. The goal of meditation would be a pure being. And it's a place of completeness. In India, it's called Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamadam. Purnat Purnamadachyate. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. This is whole and complete. This is perfect. That is whole and complete. That is perfect. From what is whole and complete and perfect comes what is whole and complete and perfect. When you take what is whole and complete and perfect from what is whole and complete and perfect, what is left is also whole and complete and perfect. So from perfection flows perfection. The quality of the seed determines the quality of the fruit. So the end goal of meditation is exactly what you practice now. You practice for the sake of practice. Right? It's not that the goal is somehow different from the fruit is somehow different from the effort. No, the fruit is a direct, you could say, a blossoming of your present. Like when I radically accept this moment of life, when I can lean into and trust, right now life may be going quite smoothly and nice, or maybe not, and I can relax into that, then I have strengthened the neural networks. I have strengthened the capacity to relax into and trust even when things go dead wrong. Goenkaji has this nice English, this nice thing he would say in the English discourses, that it's easy to smile when life is flowing along like a sweet song. But the person worthwhile is the one who can smile when things go dead wrong. Right? So yeah, that's the goal of meditation. So in a sense, it's no goal also. But it's fine to have a goal. What exactly is happening to us in silence and quietude? Your life energy which was trapped in various patterns of thought and emotion. And even sometimes physically, you're sitting in funny postures. When you can just be in a state, like, for example, I was talking to this teacher. He's a teacher of mudras. And I was telling him that when I meditate, sometimes I open my eyes and I'm fascinated. My fingers have taken on some funny mudras. It's like, I don't even know what I did. I got out of meditation and my fingers went into some strange position. Like, what is that about? So the body knows what to do. When I'm in a state of quietude and silence, my body will realign itself. My fingers will realign themselves. Right. So everything gets streamlined. And maybe at this time in my life, that particular mudra is needed. Who knows what it is? I don't know. But everything just starts to, what happens is what needs to happen. Let's look at some of the comments. Can you share the link to your new platform? So it's belucid.in. Type it out. Oh, I put it only to all panelists. Let me give it to everybody. Belucid.in. Which book did he mention? Aparna, which, I'm forgetting, this may be a little while back. What are you talking about? Which book? Right, say it again and I'll see which book it was. I disagree. Losing something is not a prerequisite to gaining something. It's like saying no pain, no gain. We can very much grow through joy and aha moments. Wonderful. Very good. I agree. See, that's an example of a story. So it's good to question every story. We're talking about, yeah, stand out of that. Stand out of your light. That was the book, you're right. A Course in Miracles Made Easy. That was Alan Cohen. Yeah, Alan Cohen. Great. So it's nice. There's a lovely teaching that every great truth, the opposite is also true. For every great truth, the opposite is also true. So anything that I say as well, it's nice to turn it around and see how the opposite is also true. This is how you develop ripened wisdom. Because each thing that one is saying is just meant as an adjustment. It's not meant as an ultimate truth. What's your opinion about rituals? Rituals are actually, when done with understanding, are very good actually, because your body actually loves ritual. The ritual of sleeping at a set time, eating at a set time. If you mix it up all the time, your body doesn't like it actually. So it's nice to give your body some set, the body actually likes those patterns. And then if you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, if you just do it blindly, of course, then it's just something. But if you do it, if you know why you're doing it, you can imbue the ritual with meaning. For example, you light a candle. Then you're not just superstitiously lighting the candle. You know, the candle, the light represents, you can say knowledge or wisdom, and the dispelling of the darkness. No matter how this room could have been dark for 1,000,000 years, and you lit the candle, and poof, 1,000,000 years of darkness is gone. So you could have been in illusion and ignorance for millions of years, but you lit that candle of knowledge and wisdom, and instantly it's gone. So now that ritual becomes imbued with meaning. So the moment you imbue anything with meaning, at the very least you're present with it, then that is no longer a problem. But if it's done mindlessly or superstitiously or out of fear, then of course that's not really helping you, is it? Share some insights on the book on miracles, please. Am I carrying one of my... Maybe I'll give you, what time is it? Maybe I'll give you a few minutes break and I can get that book. It's lying in the other room. You can do that. I'll bring it in a few minutes. It's a great book to read from. How can we rise above body and mind in our daily life? So I would say don't try to rise above it. Just really get present with it. The way out is through. If you try to bypass it in some way, it's not going to work. So become attentive to the body, the posture of the body, the sensations, the breath, the activity of the mind, which includes feelings and memories and thoughts. And the more you can just become attentive to all of this, automatically you're touching metacognition, the capacity to be attentive to your experience without getting swept away by it. That's actually the reason we practice meditation or mindfulness or anything like that. So in a way, it's not transcend and exclude, it's transcend and include. Wonderful teaching from Ken Wilber. You transcend and include. So you're not trying to get away from the body and mind. You're so very attentive of the body and mind that now you've touched a different dimension of consciousness, a broader dimension of consciousness. Leaving the place is never a right choice. Does it mean that? No, that's not true. I mean, it could be the right choice, right? If that's what's like when the building is burning, it is suitable for you to leave the building. You don't say, oh, everything. Like I think there's a story about this. There was a man who claimed to have a lot of faith in God. And there was a wild elephant, and the wild elephant was rampaging and breaking down, trees and romping through a village, crushing people below the feet. And of course, there was a pandemonium. People were running and say, "Run, run, run! Wild elephant, wild elephant!" And this person, no, God will save me. God will save me. No, run away! Run! The elephant is coming. No, God will save me. God will save me. And he just fearlessly walks, and the elephant comes and crushes him to death. And then he goes to the afterlife, and he says, God, I had such faith in you. And why didn't you save me? He said, I tried to save you so many times. I said, that man, I said, that woman, I said, get out of the way, get out of the way. But you didn't listen. So it doesn't mean that, we have to be dumb about this. If the building's on fire, then it is suitable to run out of the building. And that instinct that you're getting, that now it's time to leave, that you should listen to that instinct as well. So it doesn't mean that like if you're in a bad situation or a bad abusive relationship, that, oh, everything's in its place, means I have to just stay in the same place. No. Every cell of your body is screaming that this is not the right place to be. You need to honor that. Can you talk more about walking meditation? So I would guide you to just go to YouTube and type. You could type, if you can type Mahasati, 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 and you can also type my name with that, or just type Mahasati. Otherwise, just type walking meditation. You're going to get some really good videos on walking meditation. And there are a few different styles of walking meditation. So try, there's a nice style I learned recently where you walk in a figure of eight. So instead of walking up and down, you walk in figure of eight for 15 minutes in one direction, 15 minutes in the other direction. Figure of eight walking. That's beautiful. So like this, you try different forms and see what works for you. I'm loving the pace of today's agendaless agenda. Good, I'm glad. This is the third one this month, so I'm glad we finally got a nice pace going. Yeah, great. Let me give you, let's give you a 3 to 4 minute break if you want to just stretch your legs. Let's just say 5 minute break. Why make it 3 to 4 minutes? Like a 5 minute break. I'll play some music, and let me get this book of mine, A Course in Miracles Made Easy, and we'll look at that next. Yeah, let's take a little break. All right, welcome back. Let me see if putting on headphones makes things better. So let me know if you can hear me clearer in the chat box, if it's better than before, and then I'll keep this on. Yes, a lot better, great, awesome. So good, yeah, thanks, got that. I would love to share with anyone I have met who has had trouble with traditional closed eyes practices. Which one is this? Oh yeah, Mahasati meditation, that's right, that's the one. I found that very useful to meditate with open eyes. Figure of 8 makes me giddy. That's working, good. Give me a message that my microphone isn't working. Figure of 8 makes me giddy. I would love to try. You can just walk up and down then, it's fine. You don't have to walk in figure of 8. So now, let me just answer a few more questions here before I go on. Can you please share some insights from the book on miracles? So yeah, I will be reading from Course in Miracles, a little bit from it. The actual book I've lent to a friend, although I have it on I do have it in my Kindle. Maybe I can read a little bit from it before we end today. We'll get to that. How to navigate a romantic relationship while you're exploring your spiritual journey. You know, why not see all of it as part of your one journey? We don't have to break it up into romantic and spiritual and everything. You know, just be human. And in being fully human, you will also be most grounded and spiritual. In being fully human, you will also be most grounded and spiritual. So what the powerful thing about romantic relationships is that it'll show you all the shadows that you have, which otherwise, there was a lovely book I was reading. There was an article, I think it's called Blue Jean Buddha or something like that. I'm forgetting the name of the book. But basically there was an article about, it was My Buddhist Boyfriend. And this girl talked about how she'd go to her boyfriend's room and he'd be radiating love to the entire universe, the entire cosmos. May all beings be happy. And when she entered the room, she'd be like, shut the door. Can't you see I'm meditating? Great example of a shadow, right? So our romantic relationships reveal to us all the places where we are still stuck. And we may not like that, but that's actually not only romantic, relationships in general are a powerful mirror for us. So don't see it as something apart from it. Everything is a part of the journey. No mistakes. What's the secret of your creativity? I mean, I don't know. I do things that I enjoy. And one of my favorite definitions of creativity is where time disappears. So like, you know, this may be like a 2-hour session for some of you, but for me, it doesn't feel like a 2-hour session. It may feel like maybe 2 minutes or 5 minutes. So, and maybe that's where creativity comes from. So the more timeless you get, the more creative you get. So you ask yourself, how can I get more timeless? What makes you timeless? And then when you are in a timeless state, you're creating things that also tend to be more and more timeless. What comes through you, because this whole universe it's a creative movement. The whole universe is based on constant creation and also dissolution, right? So all our creativity is like writing on the sand. So when you have that sense of openness and you're in touch with what the pulse that is deep within us, we all have a pulse. Of course, the modern education system and the fear of not making a living sometimes forces us to abandon that. You had innate artistic talent, but then you went and did an MBA, or you were very good at singing or convincing people or whatever it is, but then you just because it was not practical to do it anymore, maybe you're a very good writer. I think all of us have that creativity is not just for a few artistic people. All of us are creative, but then somewhere along the way, we other people judge us or we judge ourselves, and we don't have faith in ourselves.
and then we just do practical stuff. I had a person in my workshop, a retreat, who claimed to have never painted in his life. And one of my friends, Renuka, I don't know if she's part of the call today. So Renuka took us through a art workshop over 2 days, few hours over 2 days. And he got the fact that she wasn't judging what he did, that at his age, in his 50s or 60s, he took on painting. And his wife complained to me, "What have you done to my husband? He's filling up the whole house with paintings." So you see, we all have that within us. Do you get ruffled in real life? I do. I definitely do. But you know what's different? I no longer get ruffled about getting ruffled. And that's a big shift. So I no longer make an eye. If I get bugged by the way, even though I said a little while back, I'm always surrounded by the best drivers. But if someone does something I don't like and they get ruffled, I'm not ruffled about getting ruffled. It doesn't hurt my identity as a spiritual teacher. I'm not supposed to get ruffled. My name is Nithya Shanti. I'm never supposed to be Ashant. No, it's okay. So I want to embrace. My aim is not just to embrace my divinity. It's also to embrace my humanity. Right? There's a reason why I'm in human form. Otherwise, I'd be a little archangel flying around. So I do get ruffled. It's not that often, I would say, but then who knows? Maybe I'm living a very cushy, comfy life right now. Maybe that's why. Maybe if I'm put in different circumstances, I'll get ruffled more. But the aim is not to get ruffled about getting ruffled. It's okay to get ruffled and then move through that. Fully feeling the feelings is very healing. Though we are aware that life is perfect the way it is, what then are we striving for? You know, perfection is not a static thing. Perfection is a dynamic thing. Perfection is a living thing. And so what you're striving for is to understand just how perfect it is. I like to say everything is perfect and everything can be improved. So what can be improved? Your understanding of how deep this perfection goes can be improved. So it's a supercomputer that we're living inside of. Everything is in its place. Nothing's out of place. There's a nice book on creativity called Sticky Wisdom by Dave Allen for work. Thanks, Komal. That's great. I have a question. You know, I want to pause now from questions, even though I can see it's a nice question, but we'll just pause for a moment. Can we just take a minute of silence? And I want to read something from Course in Miracles. Take a minute. So I'm going to be reading from A Course in Miracles, Made Easy by Alan Cohen, Mastering the Journey from Fear to Love. All right. So can I get the last person to comment was Shweta Bahirvani. Shweta, can you give me a page number? Mm-hmm. 21 Radhika. Shweta, you have 5 more seconds to give me a page number. 5, 4, 3, yeah, 55. Oh, perfect. You got 55 is the beginning of a chapter called Isn't That Special? So let's see. Author, please. Author is Alan Cohen. All right, let's see. My client, Stephanie, is a successful 38-year-old CPA at a prestigious corporation. She is divorced with a preteen son and daughter Stephanie is smart, healthy, attractive, and respected among her peers. She earns a substantial income and owns a lovely house in an upscale community. Yet, for all her success, Stephanie carries a quiet heartache. She's missing her life partner. Everything in her life clicks except for a meaningful relationship with that special someone. Stephanie told me horror stories about men she has dated. Some were needy, many just wanted sex. Others were narcissistic. One was a rageaholic. I never heard that word. I guess it gets angry very easily. Rageaholic. Someone look it up. Rageaholic. And a few, she found out, were married. One guy got drunk at a professional meeting and embarrassed her in front of her colleagues. Several proposed, but none she could imagine being with for a lifetime. The guys I want don't want me, and the guys who want me, I don't want. Will I ever find my mate? Stephanie's situation is all too familiar. Why have so many of us borne so much pain and disappointment in relationships? Why is it so hard to find someone who matches our values and visions? Rageaholic is a person who gets excited by expressing rage, a person prone to extreme anger with little or no provocation. Thanks, Venkatraman. Why is it so hard to find someone who matches our values and visions? Why do partnerships that begin with passion deteriorate to becoming stale, boring, or bitter? Why do so many people search for fulfillment outside of their primary relationship? Why do we fight with people we once cared about so deeply? Why is the divorce rate so high? Why do so many people go from relationship to relationship, marriage to marriage, and still feel empty and alone? A Course in Miracles sheds some light, A Course in Miracles sheds welcome light on this painful dynamic along with its remedy. The Course devotes a great deal of ink to special relationships. While we all want to meet and bask in the presence of that special someone, the Course uses the word special in a unique way. In a special relationship, we single out a person, object, or ideology to be the source of our happiness. We believe we are empty, alone, needy, defective, our life is dull, meaningless, painful, or filled with drama. Then we bestow a person or an object or an ideology with the power to save us from our sense of lack and make us happy. The idea that you complete me is the definitive maxim of the special relationship. The belief that someone else can complete you implies that you are incomplete. This erroneous self-image is the root cause of all emotional pain because it is untrue. You are not incomplete, and no one can complete you. You are eternally, unassailably, undeniably whole. The fatal flaw in the "you complete me" formula is that if someone has the power to complete you by doing what makes you happy, then he or she has the power to render you once again incomplete by withdrawing the behavior that validates you. While being with your completer feels heady and exhilarating, if the relationship tanks, you crash to the depths of despair and you feel lonelier than ever. If receiving a phone call from him sends you to heaven, waiting by the phone when he doesn't call sends you to hell. If you are in love with the way she looks, when her looks change, you will fall out of love. If his declaration that you make his life worth living makes you feel secure, the day he chooses to go fishing with his buddies rather than be with you leaves you feeling worthless. Special love is a drug. Special love is a drug, and an addictive one at that. The more you indulge it, the more you need it. When it goes away, you plunge into severe withdrawal. The Course says, for an unholy relationship is based on differences, where each one thinks that the other has what he has not. They come together, each to complete himself and rob the other. They stay until they think there's nothing left to steal, and then they move on. And so they wander through a world of strangers, unlike themselves, living with their bodies, perhaps under a common roof that shelters neither, in the same room, and yet a world apart. And then he carries on. Then, as the pattern goes, you seek and find another person or an object to fill the role of savior. The ego provides an endless list of special objects, but this is not the answer to your emptiness. No more than another injection of heroin is the answer to the addict's craving. All things you seek to make your value greater in your sight limit you further, hide your worth from you, and they add another bar across the door that leads to the true awareness of yourself. Sooner or later, your next special relationship will wobble and dissolve, and you are back where you started, or even worse off. You cannot isolate something outside yourself as the source of your good or sorrow and remain at peace with yourself. When you make something special, you give it unique power to save or to damn. No thing has such power or deserves it. Only you have that power. And when you withdraw it from your designated object, you will find healing and redemption that no person or thing can or will ever bring you. The special someone you have been looking for is you. My salvation comes from me, says the Course in Miracles. We form special relationships, not just with romantic partners, but with friends, with companies, with possessions, and with ideologies. You can weave an aura of specialness around your teacher, your therapist, your guru, your pet, your sport, diet, house, article of clothing, or car. You might go gaga over a movie star, rock icon, author. You can get attached to an ideology, such as that of a political party. Radio, television broadcasts are replete with red-faced commentators shouting about why their party is always right and the other party is always wrong. You can get stuck on a place. You can get stuck on a place, such as needing to get your desired room at the hotel where you vacation every summer. And the list goes on. The ego can use any object as a target for specialness, and given the freedom to do so, it will. My mentor was a yoga master who hiked high into the Himalayas to a remote ashram, reputed for its tranquil meditative atmosphere. When she approached the temple, she heard a voice shout, "That's my pillow." Immediately, another voice retorted, "No, it's my pillow." Two yogis were fighting over a certain meditation pillow, which they each believed would help them find deeper peace. On and on they bickered. These two ascetics had renounced everything in the world, but they still believed they needed a special pillow. In believing the pillow could take them to heaven, they each fell into hell, for that moment at least. Many of us have a special relationship with money. We have it, we feel secure. If we lack it, we feel limited. Money provides a classic example of giving your power to an external symbol. People fight over money, people kill for it, and ruin loving friendships. Countless crimes have been committed by the almighty dollar. The painful quest for specialness affects not just individuals, it affects nations, it affects cultures. Religion is one of the most used vehicles for special relationships. People believe that their religion is closer to God than anyone else's. Adherents driven by faith have fought long, bloody wars, and countless people have been murdered in the name of a special religion. Yet God has played no part in the killing. It is specialness that destroys. In the documentary, Oh My God, we meet a Christian owner of a gun shop in Texas. Everyone who does not believe in Jesus Christ is going to hell, she swears. Then in the Middle East, we find a devout Muslim who declares, everyone who does not worship Allah is going to hell, and so on. Religious specialness separates people from each other and from God under the illusion of drawing them closer. I met a woman who had written a hit song 30 years earlier. She went on and on about her success with the song. After a while, I began to wonder if anything else had happened to her in the last 3 decades. She seemed so fixated with that one success that nothing since then was worth talking about. Remember that thing I talked about, the lady who saw Krishna? It's so similar to that. She seemed so fixated on that one success that nothing since then was worth talking about. I'm sure there were many more riches in and around her that I would have liked to have known about. But her true self was buried beneath that one moment of glory, the gold record, her headstone. We all have special relationships with something. A Course in Miracles helps us understand and transform such relationships using the tools that I will soon explore. Yeah, this is a long chapter. It goes on. But I'm going to go straight to the tools. And very briefly, here are some specific tips on how to transform special relationships into holy ones. Number one, recognize how much the special love or hate relationship is costing you. Special relationships cost you dearly. They bring enormous emotional pain, often accompanied by physical distress and significant financial outlay. You cannot afford such suffering. If your relationship is bringing you more sorrow than joy and your losses outweigh your gains, you must not continue as you have been. Tell the truth about what in your relationship is working and what is not, what is hurting and what is healing. Denial of your pain will not serve you. Honesty will. Authentic communication is the first step to transforming your special relationships into holy relationships. Another tool, shift your vision. If you are in pain with a partner or an object of specialness, you are not seeing that person or object clearly. You are seeing your version of that person or object. If you were to see your partner as he or she actually is, then you would experience only love and appreciation. But the veil of illusion distort your perception, so you only see selected fragments of the whole. Anger is a sign that you are focusing on limiting or illusory aspects and to justify your judgments. I had a neighbor who was a nasty alcoholic. Brenda would sit at the kitchen table with her husband, drink and complain. I could see no good in her. Then she and her husband took in a younger fellow to live with them. Mark helped the couple around the house and stayed with them for years. When Brenda passed away, Mark told me, Brenda was one of the kindest people I've ever known. She and her husband treated me like a son. She and her husband treated me like a son. I will always remember and love her. In that moment, I realized how skewed was my interpretation of Brenda. I was focusing on one aspect of her, and that brought me pain to consider. Mark, on the other hand, was focusing on an aspect of Brenda that brought him joy. Each of us was reaping the result of our interpretation. From that moment onwards, I began to think of Brenda as a kind person, which has brought me peace. So he goes on to say that, we're only experiencing our interpretation. Money is a neutral thing. There's nothing inherently stressful about it. Stress is more attitudinal than situational. If the idea that money is the root of all evil is fabricated by ego, which is infatuated with evil and its causes, sorry, not if, but the idea that money is the root of all evil is fabricated by the ego. The spiritual eye, by contrast, sees money as a vehicle to express love. Money blesses you when you receive it, and it blesses you and the recipient when you give it. It is life-giving. Fear, not money, is the root of all evil. When you see money as the root of all evil, it becomes your friend, finds its way to you. Sorry, when you see money as the root of all good, it becomes your friend, finds its way to you, and increases happiness in the world as it circulates to and from you. We had a whole course, 21-day course called Arigato Money. It was all about exactly this. Seeing money as a blessing that comes to you and flows through you, seeing money as a root of all good. And so many people had a big transformation, a shift in their relationship with money, just by saying thank you. Arigato means thank you. Thank you when you receive money, even thank you when you pay money. Go as a blessing, come back with your friends. Establish your awareness in the now. The present moment is a holy instant. So there's more, but I'm going to stop here. And you're welcome to look up this book, A Course in Miracles Made Easy by Alan Cohen. And there's a lot of goodness here. Very nice. Preview of this chapter can be found here. Wonderful. Maybe take a minute of silence, just absorb some of the things that were said. And from all the reading, could there be at least one idea that stays with you? See what stays with you. There's a question from earlier. When we meditate with you or on our own, it's blissful. Post that, when we go to real life, some things stick, but most things are forgotten. How can one bring being awakened in every situation, every moment of the day? So you're already on track. You're doing it. And you may have to expand your definition of bliss to what Adya Shanti talked about a little earlier. Don't expect that bliss will always feel good. Right? Bliss doesn't always have to feel good. What you're feeling right now, without your judgments, without your distractions, is actually absolute bliss. So that's all you have to. It's not that you have to now bring some ability or cultivate something special. It's actually the opposite of special. You know this word extraordinary, right? Extraordinary. It's extraordinary. Like I talked about walking meditation and seeing the floor, concrete floor, patchy concrete floor, became extraordinary. It was so ordinary. It was extraordinary. And in that extraordinariness was something beautiful. So there's nothing, you're already on track. Your understanding of bliss is going to expand. Bliss doesn't have to feel a certain way or look a certain way. Everything can be bliss. Yeah. I feel like playing a song. Let's see if I can find it. Music is a very, what do you say? Subjective thing. So you may or may not like the song. But since it's an agendaless session, it's just going to play. The song is by an artist called Lane 8.
Tried it all so many times, even read between the lines. None of it can fill the hole that's way down deep within my soul. Don't wanna climb no mountain or drink no magic fountain. Don't wanna spend my days in some purple haze. I said I just wanna please you. I said I just wanna please you. I said I just wanna please you. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare. Tried it all so many times, even read between the lines. None of it can fill the hole that's way down deep within my soul. Don't want no profit, no gain. Don't want no glitter, no fame. Don't wanna be idle and rich. No, give them all some sales pitch. I said I just wanna please you. I said I just wanna please you. I said I just wanna please you. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare. Tried it all so many times, even read between the lines. None of it can fill the hole. It's way down deep within my soul.
This is a song called Please You by Anand Vardhan. The last song we heard is called The Rope by Lane 8. Yeah, there's different kinds of music. Music has a nice way to take you deeper, especially when you listen with full attention. Okay. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Making a wish. Universe, please give me all of Nithya's playlists. Make a better wish that the best music just comes to you. That's like my intention. The best music finds me. I don't go looking for it. Nithya, since the Arigato course, Please You has become my favorite song. Ah, so good. So much gratitude for this wonderful community and the timeless high vibration spaces created. Thank you. Arigato. Arigato. Makes me want to dance. The first song I played was called Rise by Lane 8. The second song is called Please You. Deeply attracted to the Riyaz sessions, but I have online classes almost every day in between, as I'm teaching in college. Will it interfere? I mean, if you're teaching in college, I don't know how you can do Riyaz. Riyaz is these deep work sessions I'm creating next month. But if you're at home, then you might be able to do the work within Riyaz. Riyaz is deep work, so it's 4 hours where you do some deep work. Good. So just let me make a couple of announcements, and then some people are raising their hand. Maybe they can share a few things. So one is that in case any of you want to volunteer to transcribe some talks. That's a lot of people have discovered that to be a very nice practice in its own right. You listen to talks like these, you pause it, you transcribe, and a 2-hour talk takes anywhere from 6 to 8 hours to transcribe. You can do it, there's no rush. You can do it over the next few weeks or even a month. You set your own deadlines actually. And so there were 140 people, I think, maybe more than that, who volunteered. And some of them found it was quite hard and they didn't do it. That's fine. And most of them were actually able to transcribe. And some of them have become like really fast transcribers. So if you feel like volunteering, then I'm going to put an email address here, and you can just email Padmaja at nithyashanti.com, and she will guide you on how to do that. And also, that can be a nice way to connect with other people who are part of the community. Padmaja, she spells Ja with a double A, at nithyashanti.com. So yeah, Shweta is transcribing the third one right now. That's one thing that I wanted to announce. The other thing is that October has quite a few things happening. We have Riyaz, which is the deep work sessions happening 4 times a week. The first 10 days, I will only be there for some of them. I've been invited to teach in Maldives, of all the places. So tomorrow I'm going to Maldives. So I'll peep in for the Riyaz tomorrow. And then as and when I can be part of it for the first 8-9 days, I'll be part of it. And then the remaining part of the month, I'll be definitely there. So Padmaja will be taking care of Riyaz. But ultimately, it's really not about me. It's about you doing your deep work, right? It's a space for deep work. And we've already cleaned up the format in the trial session we did. That's something that's happening. Then we have something called Portals to Power, which is during Navratri. We will meditate for 2 hours, 5 to 7 a.m. every morning, India time. And we're going to practice on the new moon and on the full moon. That's 17th of October and the 31st, if I'm not mistaken, of October. You can join that if you like. And then I'm going to do something called the Foundations course. Some of what you could call the most basic, but nothing's really basic. Everything can go really deep. But you could say that the teachings I kind of share most commonly, things like gratitude, things like emotional balancing, basic meditation. I'm going to do a Foundations course from 27th to the 31st, I think. And before that is the Portals to Power, which is 17th to 25th. If you want to join any of that, if you go to my Be Lucid platform, belucid.in, you'll find details of all of these courses. And there's also, if you want to join more than one, then you can actually, just for the price of, just for one price, you can get access to everything I'm doing in October. That's also available to you, right? So you can join for any of those things. And now let me just see who's raising their hand that they want to speak. So Manisha, would you like to say something? Unmute yourself. Manisha Kemlani. Manisha. I don't know if you accidentally raised your hand, Manisha. And Smita Mota, would you like to say something? Go ahead, unmute yourself. Sometimes people accidentally raise their hand. They're like, oh no, now we have to talk. That's fine.
Hi.
Smita, go ahead,
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So I just wanted to thank you. It's been wonderful 2 hours that we've spent with you.
Lovely.
And I also wonder how much can you just keep giving and giving and giving. And I see change in expression even towards the end of the session. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Smita. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, I must say, I also get a lot back from all of you. I get so many messages from all of you, and it's really a wonderful. It's not just that I'm giving. I don't feel like, in fact, I don't even feel like I'm giving. I just feel I'm sharing. It's like breathing for me. So yeah, I don't feel I'm doing anybody a favor. I also enjoy these states, and all of you give me an opportunity to, if there was nobody there, would I be able to sit in front of just sit over here for 2 hours? I probably would, but it will not be that easy. It's easier when I'm in this flow. So you're also enabling me, just like I'm enabling you. So no mistakes. It's all connected. Yeah. Thanks, Smita. Bhavna, you're raising your hand. Bhavna, go ahead. Unmute.
Hello.
Hi, Bhavna.
How are you doing, Nithya?
Everything's good. Tell me.
Wonderful. It's nice to hear from you today again. And I'm so glad you mentioned about Mahasati meditation and doing meditation while keeping our eyes open,
Yeah.
because it's so interesting that Anjali told me, oh,
Mhm.
I made my Apple Watch work. I said, okay, maybe for our meditation or Balsanga sessions, I can wear Apple Watch and I can set up my timer for our meditation, because I always wonder if it has been 5 minutes or not.
Yeah.
Anjali said, Mama, you are the only one who does meditation in the Zoom meetings. You are the one who close your eyes and do the meditation. None of the kids do that. I said, really? But it was nice. I said, okay, maybe I should think about some other creative way so that they are doing the meditation. And then
Very good.
Mahasati meditation came to my mind, and
Yeah.
it's interesting that you mentioned about that today. So, so that was
Yeah.
really cool.
Mahasati is really good, and even kids can really take on Mahasati. I've had a lot of yoga teachers and professional dancers. When they do Mahasati, they find that their practice goes to the next level. So it's really something very special, very, very powerful. I can't say special anymore. It's holy. No more special relationships, only holy relationships.
Yeah. And I liked your statement about judging yourself also, like how people have told you that you are a fast talker, especially in the transcribing service. We are always complaining that Nithya talks too fast and there are so many words in 1 minute. So and all that. But you're so right. It's a blessing also. Like I can see myself being very extrovert and just approaching people without any agenda or anything. I know that it got me in trouble, big trouble one time, but just that one incident, it made me aware of what I should and what I should not. But I still like that quality. I still like to connect with people. And then I was listening to one of your talks. I don't know which one was it exactly, but you said that somebody did the research about longevity and happiness index, and then the number one was to connect people without any agenda. Like you could just approach anybody, say hi anybody to anybody. So I
Social
told,
integration. Yeah, it's called social
yeah,
integration. You're right.
yes, social integration. So I told my family, I said, my lifeline is kind of short, but I said after listening to this talk, I think I may live up to 106 also, just like Alison Sommer. But it was so funny. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks, Bhavna. Wonderful. Great. So we are on the hour. Can we take a minute of stillness before we close for today? Take a minute. Just gratitude. Beautiful. So to summarize today's session, I'd like to say 3 words. Trust your process. Trust your process. Nothing's out of place. Trust your process. Trusting your process is the wormhole to your superpower. Trusting yourself. What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're in the middle of a supercomputer called life, and every little detail is exactly what is needed for your full blossoming, your full expansion? What if? Lots of love. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being part of this. And we'll see some of you part of some of the events coming up in October. Be well. I'll be posting a recording of this. This is also on YouTube. If you want to share the link or revisit it, if you go to my channel, and it's also going to be on Be Lucid, maybe tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye. Be well.